What is going on YouTube and Spotify? This is the Just BSN podcast, and today, as always, I have with me my boy Andrew. And thank God we don't have a Browns game this week. We can enjoy football for one weekend at least. Currently got the Thursday night game going, and it's starting to finally get a little spicy. It took until almost to the fourth quarter to start getting spicy, but the game's getting a little closer. It's going to mean something. Um, but we don't have Browns football, but we still have some stuff to talk about with Browns. So we're going to be getting to that. And then we are going to end on some Cavs talk because those boys are red hot. I just bought this hat today, so I got a rep now. I'm locked in. So Andrew, how we feeling after a nice bye week?
I'm feeling good about the Cavs because the Cavs are fucking steamrolling right now, and I am loving every single minute of it. As for the Browns is the Browns.
Don't say that to Njoku.
Yeah, no. Honestly, I might. Maybe we'll start winning some goddamn games. I might hang that up in the wall like Ted Lasso where they had to believe above the door. I'm going to put the Browns as the Browns on the door. Above the door.
Piss everybody off in the building. Yeah.
Piss everyone off.
Good idea.
Piss everyone off in the building. Maybe we'll win some goddamn football games.
For real.
Call Baker Mayfield back here and get him.
Get the whole crew back. Baker, Dorsey, Jarvis.
Everybody.
God, that would not go well. I already know it. It would not go well. We're just
Everyone
joking.
Beating the shit out of each other once they get in the locker room.
Yeah. But yeah, so obviously we don't have a Browns game, but we still have shit to talk about because the trade deadline just ended this past Tuesday. The Browns did up trading Zadarius Smith to the Lions, which was pretty much that's been predicted for like the last 2 weeks now, so that's not a shock.
No,
I believe we got a fifth rounder out of him, so not the worst. I mean, obviously it's not the greatest thing to get back, but you're at least getting something in return for somebody that you knew for a fact was not coming back for next year, especially after how this year's gone. Let him go somewhere that he can compete and play because he is going to play there, and so he's going to contribute to a team that's in the running for a Super Bowl this year. And then the Browns also cut Jefferson, that D tackle. Yeah. He was released and picked up by the Bills, so now he is with the Bills with Cooper. But the trade deadline, other than that, we were really not aggressive. As honestly, I thought we were going to be on a little bit more of a fire sale, and they didn't trade a whole lot of people. They didn't get rid of guys like Newsome. You even hear about Wills. You heard a little bit of Njoku, which I thought was wild, and that's why I'm glad they kind of shut it down real quick, because trading him as a core piece of this team, no matter where you're going, is just silly. Plus, you just extended him. Like you gotta stick with him. Like he's one of the good ones. So, but what you're feeling right now, in terms of the trades and really just the vibe right now, because we're going into this bye week, we're 2-7. I feel like even though we traded Zadarius, it's still sort of like us starting to wave the white flag already, in my opinion.
No, I think we've waved the white flag, and I mean Zadarius. I know from what I know, he was pissed off that he was traded because he wanted to stay and pretty much play the rest of his time here, which I truly respect from him. And to be honest, I did want him to go. I thought he was a crucial piece to our defense. And I mean, I think the Browns just saw, hey, let's just get a pick out of this guy and use it just to kind of try and build. And when he is getting older, and Detroit needed to replace Aiden Hutchinson. So they got their Aiden Hutchinson replacement. So that should help solidify Detroit's defense. But you get a 6th-round pick out of it. It's not the end of the world. And then obviously, like you said, Quentin Jefferson going to the Bills, which he wasn't even being used all that much at all anyways. Yeah. He was more of the practice squad. So
especially with Mike Hall back now.
And he's been playing well too. Mike Hall's been playing very well since he's been. So I thought that was a great pick by Andrew Berry in the draft. Mike Hall's a very, very good defender, defensive player. But I mean, as soon as we started going like 1-5, one is six, or we knew that the Browns were going to wave the white flag. And the main question that everyone was asking before the deadline was, are they going to fully sell out,
Right.
or are they going to say, is this like a small rebuild? And I truly believe they believe it's a small rebuild, which I do too.
Yeah.
You have the pieces. It's just you have to fill like two or three spots, and I think you're perfectly fine. And obviously you have to get rid of like Ken Dorsey too, and go back to the old play action play style because that's the only thing that actually works in the Browns offense right now. And because this whole shotgun 5 wide is not doing jack shit for us anymore or at all, and it never was, and it was never going to. The reason why we beat the Ravens was because we played that play action style and we freed up the receivers and such. And for some reason, as the Browns do, they always bail into things that work. So
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me, but I think there's a couple pieces that need to be filled. And I think the Browns understood that. And they were like, yeah, we're not going to completely blow it up.
Yeah.
Because they could have easily gotten so many picks for this year and have blown the whole thing up and just rebuilt in the draft. But this is a good football team on paper. Yeah. You just need to make a couple adjustments and you're there. And you're right back to where you were a couple of years ago. So there's no need to decimate the entire. And I know there's a lot of people overreacting, wanting to decimate the entire thing. And those guys need to calm the hell down.
Well, and I think it's just them sort of like going back to their to what they know about this team.
Yeah,
we've always been bad. So anytime things start going south, we just know that how it's been in the past is, oh, you got to blow it up, and it's like, well, that's why we were bad for 20 years.
It's because we blew it up every time.
And and we've been saying this for a few weeks now. Like, we really don't believe that we need a full on rebuild. Like, you just have to fill in a few spaces. And I think having DeJuan Jones work good at left tackle is actually going to really help us out, because then you don't have to necessarily prioritize that in this next draft, in a draft where, you're probably going to think about getting either a receiver or a quarterback or just something of weaponization, something for them to use on offense, because we need one. And I just, it's going to be interesting how they do this, but it's not the end of the world type of, like the Panthers. Those guys need to do a full
that's a rebuild
at this
team.
point, because they have nothing to give. Like they wasted so much on a Bryce, young pick, and he's not going to be there next year, guaranteed.
Yeah, no, and for the Browns, you see what you have in the draft, what kind of pick you have, because anything other than maybe like a first or second, whatever. Because I think the go-to guy now that everyone wants to get in this draft is Cam Ward.
Yeah,
I think
he's the most
prolific quarterback in the draft right now.
Yes, like he's the most pro ready, I think.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people, especially a lot of Browns fans, I see all those mock drafts with Shedeur Sanders and stuff, and
or even Drew Aller, and like,
yeah, I'm like, why are you guys so fucking dumb? Like, Drew Aller's mediocre as hell. Shedeur Sanders is overrated because of his dad, and
well, they go for Drew because he went to Medina, so he's a hometown kid.
Yeah, and I don't give a shit about that.
I don't.
Like, who cares? But again, Shedeur Sanders, what competition has he faced in college? He went to Jacksonville State and he went to Colorado. He hasn't faced any big time competition. When he did, he panicked and he lost all those games.
Yeah.
So he's a panicky quarterback in big game situations and loses ball games. He's not pro ready whatsoever. Like, there's going to be good quarterbacks coming out, and then draft afterwards. You're going to have, that's when you're going to have your Manning, Arch Manning. That's when you're probably going to have your I'm trying to think of the Ohio State's quarterback in in my
Oh
mind.
yeah. Well,
Um,
and even the quarterback for Oregon's going to be
yeah,
good
Will
too.
Howard. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah,
And then what's his name? Something Beck from
yeah,
Georgia.
yeah. Back from Georgia.
Oh my goodness.
So, the thing is that in the next, not this year or this coming draft, but next year's draft, there's going to be more quarterbacks to be offered if you want to get a QB. And again, depending if you don't get the first pick, essentially, then I say you bring back Jameis
Yes.
and start Jameis
Yes.
and ride with, because Jameis is only 30 years old. It's not like he's
Yeah.
old at all.
And you can use him as a bridge quarterback to tank for a guy like Arch or something like that
Yeah,
if that's where you're really
and
going, and just keep loading on young talent for this draft
it's not like he's
where
a bad
there's an
quarterback
abundance
either.
of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like he's a dog shit quarterback either. He's a good quarterback.
Yeah.
He's one of the only quarterbacks to throw for 5,000 yards in a single season. So he's a good quarterback, but the issue is you have to play to his play style, which is play action.
Yeah.
And he's not afraid to make those deep throws. He's not afraid to make a sacrifice throw, which is what I love about him. You just have to. You can't just immediately say let's blow it all up. Now I will say you could get a top receiver. You can get like a Travis Hunter
Yeah.
or something in this draft and get a big time receiver, and have him be as your number 2 guy or whatever. Because as of right now, it seems like Ced Tillman is becoming the number 1 guy.
Yeah.
And Ced Tillman is playing out of his mind lately.
Yeah.
Ever since the quarterback change, Ced Tillman's value has skyrocketed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Deshaun. It shows you Deshaun was holding these receivers back because as soon as Winston came in, I mean, everyone started doing a lot better.
Yeah. Even
And
Judy is getting more.
even Judy's getting
Elijah
more.
Moore has eaten a lot as well. Like
Yeah.
other guys are able to contribute. Chief is getting back to his old self. Watson really did hold us back. But one of my questions to you, at least for this year, how long do you think we ride with Winston before they just decide, you know what, let's see what the kiddos got? Because I mean, after this loss again, like this is pretty much the white flag, and you really just do wonder, especially if you're gonna have more games like last week's with Winston, how long do you wait until you just decide, you know what, let's just see what the kids got, let's ride him out for the rest of the season, and then sort of analyze what else we want to do.
Well, I think they look at us too, because the next game you play is against the Saints, which is obviously a very winnable game as well.
Especially because it's more of a revenge game for Jameis.
Yeah, so Jameis is going to have to start in that game. So I don't mind him starting there.
Yeah, they just got rid of Marshawn Lattimore, so.
Yeah. I also don't mind. Honestly, I would give Jameis until maybe the Broncos game. So that gives Jameis the Saints and the Steelers game.
Yeah.
And that gives him until December 2nd. And once December 2nd hits, then you play the Steelers, or you play the Broncos, and then you play the Steelers, the Chiefs, the Bengals, the Dolphins, and the Ravens again.
Yeah.
If you lose 2 out of 3, like if you lose to the Steelers and you lose to like Denver or some shit,
yeah,
then I'll be like, okay, maybe it's time to start the kid and let DTR just kind of cruise out for the rest of the year, or it could be even after next week.
Yeah,
if they struggle, I mean, I'm sure they're gonna beat the Saints, but if you struggle against the Steelers the week after, you could even do it then. You don't even have to. You could just be like, all right, listen. At this point, we're 3-4 and we're 4 and probably 8 now, or 4 and 9, and probably just let the kid ride and see what he's got for the rest of the season, because obviously it can't get much worse.
No.
So I mean, you just chalk it up. You get the boys ready for next year, and you just, like I said, you go after maybe like a Travis Hunter with a top 5 pick, see if you can snag him, and then you just go from there. Or if you want to, you can wait. You can get an Emeka Buka too, or there's a couple of good receiving options out there.
There's plenty, and there's also a lot of running back talent as well in this draft.
Yeah.
Like, this is a draft where like you don't have to necessarily get a quarterback in your top pick, But even if you do, you have to load up on some more young talent, and you have to actually draft it well. Like you have to
Yeah.
know, you have to go in knowing who the hell is actually worth a pick at where. And I think we really do have to do
Mm.
a reevaluation of our scouting. Especially, I think our scouting has been a weak point for us for years, and
Yeah.
it's really like it really is something that this team needs to be better at. And if that means starting at Barry, so be it. But the scout team in general and the scouting just you know staff, they've just been awful, and they need to
Mm.
do a better job in that department of understanding who is worth taking and who isn't, because we've just flopped on way too many guys after the third round to even really consider AB's tenure here successful truly. Because all we are is one of the most expensive teams, and that's the other thing we need to worry about is cap. This season, like this off season, you're gonna see some guys get offloaded just because of their cap. You're gonna see guys
Mm.
like Teller, Conklin, probably. Jed could very well hit the hay if they don't decide to go get rid of Conklin. Then Jed becomes a guy out, and then
Mm.
it's obviously Dewan's show. Like you got to figure out who is worth getting off, like, sort of getting ready to get off the books, and who's worth keeping, because we have too much money in this team to be this fucking bad.
Yeah, and and this is a draft where again you can focus on those positions that we talked about, those couple positions that you need to refill. Obviously, quarterback is going to be one of them in the next couple of years.
Right.
But you could ride with Jameis Winston, or if DTR does well, you can ride with DTR.
Yeah.
But you can get a good wide receiver. You can probably go out and get a great tackle to replace a Teller or replace a Conklin. You can go get a guard or a tackle, or you can use the cap money to go out and get a veteran guard or tackle,
Yeah.
or both.
Yeah.
So this would be the time to, when you do throw in the towel, go get a receiver, get you some offensive linemen to help out, and you should be in good shape, because those are really the only positional field. Maybe if you want to, maybe another backup running back or something,
Yeah.
because
Definitely.
because I'm sure you're not going to keep Deontay Foreman around. I know Jerome Ford is probably going to stay. If not, you might offload him. So you
And
might.
and plus, you really don't know what version of Chubb we're gonna get. Like Chubb,
Exactly.
I mean, Chubb hasn't looked bad. He just hasn't been as explosive. But I
Uh,
think people that are thinking he's gonna be right now is a little unrealistic. Like,
You got to give him a lot of time to get back to his old self. You'd
yeah,
have to give him a full season to really let him ignite and get back to his full self.
yeah,
Like this season for Nick Chubb is more of just getting back into game
mm-hmm.
speed. And then next year is when you're going to get Nick Chubb back. That's when the explosive Nick Chubb comes back, because then he'll have a whole offseason to work out. Obviously, we're going to see the 700-pound squats that he's going to do,
Yeah,
and the agility ladders that he's going to do, and he's going to build that agility back up. And we're going to see the same old Nick Chubb again. That's not a concern of mine.
yeah,
My more concern is is Jerome Ford sustainable? Are you going to keep him around? Or again, do you go out and get one of these younger running backs in the draft and say, hey, like we'll take you, and if something happens to Chubb, or if we just need to give Chubb a break, it's your time.
yeah,
So there's a couple positions needs that you can get, and you're gonna have the salary cap to do so. You're gonna have the draft to do so. We stocked a little bit on this draft, so it's nice to have picks again
yeah,
and to be able to actually utilize it. You're not drafting in the third round to start out the draft. You actually get a first, a
yeah,
couple of seconds, a couple thirds. You have actual legitimate picks that you
yeah,
can use.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's gonna help us for sure. But fact is, they do got to make some tough decisions
Mm-hmm.
this year, and so this sort of leads me into my next question that kind of goes with the
Yeah.
Winston and with DTR thing. How long do we wait until guys like Garrett and Nick Chubb and even like Batonio get shut down? Because if we just keep losing games, there's 0 point in these guys playing and potentially getting hurt. You might as well shut them down.
Well, again, I take it to maybe the Broncos game on December 2nd. Or you can wait until after the second Steelers game, because obviously you played the Saints, the Steelers, the Broncos, and the Steelers again. So you have the Steelers on almost back-to-back weeks.
Right.
And I'm sure those guys are going to want to play in those games. Especially too, the first game against the Steelers on the 21st is a Sunday night or a Monday night game.
No.
So obviously it's a primetime game, so they're going to want to be out there for primetime and play and whatnot. And I don't blame them. And I think we have one more primetime game.
There's.
Or no, we have two more, because we have the Bengals and the Dolphins back to back as primetime games.
Yeah.
So I'm sure those guys are going to want to play in those games too, which is fine by me. Like, they could miss out a couple of games and they come back and play in those games if they want to.
Yeah.
Or, just play out the rest of the season. At least for me, I would shut down Miles just because I know he has like 5 different injuries going on right now.
But that's the thing about Miles is he like refuses to do that, and so I feel like he won't sit out. Like, it's gonna take him until he gets hurt, and that's what I don't want.
Well, and I think he's looking at too. He has the whole offseason to recover, and he could be like, well, after December, I'm gonna go to fucking Hawaii or whatever. I'm gonna go to the beach or whatever and just relax and really just kind of make sure I'm just chill and don't have anything to do for at least a couple weeks, and then he can start rehabbing. I know he has to get surgery on his foot. He has to get surgery on, so
yeah.
I think that's the first thing he's going to do in this offseason is go get foot surgery and let that heal. But again, it's ultimately up to Kevin Stefanski if he wants to rest these guys, and it's ultimately up to the players if they even want to sit out. Yep. But I know they're going to want to play because you still have 4 more divisional games. Because again, you played the Steelers twice, you played the Bengals and Ravens one more time, and they want to be a part of those. And a multiple of those games are primetime games.
Yep.
So I won't blame them for wanting to play in those games. I would too.
I mean, if we could win the next few games, like, okay, let's say we win the Saints game, if you could take it in and you can string off a couple wins this next month, then okay, you give yourself a fighting chance. But I'm just wondering, like, at what loss total are we just gonna decide? Okay, there is zero hope for playoffs because like you're already pretty much there. You have 7 losses already.
I would say 9 or 10.
Yeah, like you need to basically win out in order to even consider yourself in a playoff spot. And
yeah, because it need to be 10-7.
Because the only thing that is gonna benefit them if that happens, and that's a big fat fucking if, is because there's so many teams right now that are 2-6, 2-7, 3-6. Like, there's a lot of bad teams in the league right now for some reason, and
this has been a kind of an odd football year where there's been a lot of like
shit teams,
a lot of really bad teams, and the teams that are decent have played the shit teams.
Yeah, like even the Chiefs are undefeated and they don't look dominant. They just look like they just figure out how to win games, because the refs are on their side. But like there's a lot of teams that are mid right now that should be really really good, and then you have teams like the Steelers who right now sadly look like the most complete team in the AFC at least. Mm-hmm. I mean, they have a good defense and their offense is doing enough. Najee's getting back to his old self where he's actually producing. Russell looks fine in that, so just in. They just got Mike Williams, who I don't think is going to make them scary or anything. I just think he's just going to give them a little more size at receiver. Yeah. And it's going to help complement George Pickens a little bit. But, Russ is he's just playing a clean game. He's not really turning the ball over or anything. And obviously their defense is fucking ridiculous. So, I mean, the Steelers are one of those complete teams, unfortunately. And the Ravens look flawed, like fucking frauds. Miami is absolutely a joke as well. Like, there's just a lot of bad teams this year.
Yeah, and I did see, and I don't know if this is true or not, and I don't know if you saw it, but someone mentioned, should the Browns may be looking at maybe Justin Fields.
Yeah, I heard
And
that too.
I don't think that's a good idea, to be honest. I saw that. I was like, I don't think that's necessary.
Yeah,
Um,
it's not necessarily the worst choice, but like you also got to think, um, you can't get him, and then also potential grab a quarterback in the draft.
that's
You
what I
know,
mean. That's my thing. You
like
can't get
you
him and get a quarterback in the draft.
you either need to keep a guy like Winston, and then draft a quarterback, or you roll with a guy like Winston, or roll with Watson if you really feel like you still have something there with him. But like you can't really go to a guy like Fields. Like if you're going to go after a legit vet, I think you would rather want to almost steal Russell from the Steelers and let the Steelers keep Fields.
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
that would make more sense. And even then, I honestly want to see. And this is a kind of fun hypothetical that I doubt anybody is going to really get, but I wonder what it would take for the Chargers to swap us quarterbacks, because I know Harbaugh loves Watson. For some reason, he loves Watson, and
Hey, you can fucking have him.
yeah, and I'm like, dude, I would take I would take Herbert in a fucking second. I would take him in a second.
And can we get Khalil Mack in that deal?
Yeah, real God.
Him and Miles Garrett together. Oof.
Right.
Khalil Mack and Miles G. Or give me Joey Bosa or something.
Right, because I've heard so many things about John not liking Herbert.
Which is weird because Herbert's a good QB.
Yeah. He's
I
always
like
been a
her.
clutch QB too. Like he's always
Yeah.
won games by himself when he had nobody fucking else.
I just think he's been
Dealt a bad hand because they
he's
don't
been
have receivers.
yeah, he's been dealt a shit hand because he don't have anybody to catch. Because at the time he had Mike Williams, he had
Keenan Allen,
and but they kept getting hurt. They couldn't stay on the fucking field for more than like 3 games,
and then now they're gone.
and now they're all gone. And he's got who's it, Quentin Johnson as his number 1 receiver essentially.
And then Ladd
McConkey, which I like Ladd McConkey a lot. He's a really good player.
Yeah, he's a really solid slot.
Maybe we can
one
get
more big guy.
They can have Watson. We can have Ladd McConkey and
yeah, I would say about that. But yeah, like wouldn't that be a fun swap? Just be like, you know what? Don't even give us a pick. We will literally take on Herbert's entire contract if you guys take on Watson's entire contract, and they'll be like, because I mean, Harbaugh's dumb enough to do it. He is.
He's a fucking idiot, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. He's the dumbest of the Harbaugh brothers, for sure. And it's
eats his boogers. Like, what do you expect?
And it's that Michigan education, man. Like, I can't. Oh my god, dude.
I can't stand him.
Michigan makes you stupid.
But it really does, because their weed over there makes you stupid.
Yeah.
God.
Well, dude, now look at their fucking football team, dude. They're trash. And it makes you wonder, it was all the cheating.
Yeah.
Fucking idiots. But yeah, hey man, if Harbaugh likes Deshaun Watson, man, fucking have him, man. Give him. I would take Justin Herbert. We won't have to worry about a QB for over a decade. Yeah. And I'd be beyond happy with that. And I'm sure Kevin Stefanski would be happy with that too, and he could get the play calls back. And I couldn't imagine what Herbert would do with this team. He would kill it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I'm curious if they would even entertain that. I doubt it, but my God, if we could, I would.
They are dumb enough to do so.
I would entertain the absolute shit out of that. I would take that to my grave at that point. That shit would be awesome, but it's probably not going to happen. But it's definitely wishful thinking. But yeah, luckily we're on a bye week. What are the goals here in terms of the Browns team at this point for this last half of the season? Because honestly, again at 2-7, there's not much to play for. So, are you playing for pride or are we playing for the tank? Like, what just makes more sense at this point?
I know people would say play for the tank, but there's not much. And I know people want to play for the tank to get a QB, but there's not much QB help in this draft. And you're competing with like what 6 other teams.
Yeah.
I would say just go and play for pride at this point. Try and see how many games you can go out there and win. So I would play with pride. Try and win as many games as you can. And then, because then what you do is you show the NFL like, okay, we finished, I don't know, 7-10.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, the start of the season looked pretty dog water. It looked pretty shitty. But they started to slowly kind of turn it around. They managed to get to a kind of a respectable record. And it showed like, and when people over the years look at the record, they're like, okay, 7-10, okay, that's not a massive drop off from where they were. And they're like, yeah, it's just a couple of holes that needed filled and they're good to go.
All right.
So I would say you go out, you play for pride, and I mean, you try to win as much as you can, as many games as you can.
Yeah.
See, and that way when the narrative comes, you're like, oh, the Browns finished 7-10 or like 8-9 or something. Like, okay, they finished with a respectable record. It wasn't good enough to get you to playoffs, but it was decent. It wasn't like you had a dog shit year, especially with all this stuff you had going on.
Right.
You managed to salvage a little bit of the season. And that's a dot by fucking Joe Burrow right there, dude.
Oh, yeah.
And then one play, they tied the ball game back up, and he's going to waste a little bit of that clock, too. I love the disrespectful clock waste. And you just stand in front of the end zone, you just chill there for a minute.
Jamar had a big game the last time these guys played, and I'm pretty sure he's got like over 200-something yards now.
I think he has over 200 receiving yards.
I think it's by a landslide too.
He has 168. It looks like right now.
Yeah, 168. Wow,
man, 200-yard game incoming for Jamar Chase.
Maybe.
Hey,
that's still
man.
Insane.
They can go to OT.
Yeah, they might as well. I mean, the last time these two faced off, I think the final score was 41-38, right?
Yeah, it was a high score. It was a high scoring game.
Yeah, that was the Isaiah Likely 2-touchdown game, and now it's Mark Andrews with 2.
Go figure.
Yeah.
Now, of course, I dropped Mark Andrews early on in this fantasy season. Now he wants to fucking pop off.
I know. When you had him, he was a left tackle.
When I had him, he was playing left tackle. Yeah. Now he's playing tight end. Jesus Christ, I hate fantasy football so much.
But yeah, to get back to the Browns before we
transition,
get into Cavs talk. I do agree. I think you try to at least give yourself some like a few games here left to really try to win some games.
There's winnable
purposes, because even if you win 5 or 6 games this year, you're still guaranteeing yourself like a top 10 pick, and that's perfectly fine. And if you could try to load up and even move up in the draft, then if that's what happens, then that's what happens. We'll obviously see who's GM at that time. But like,
I could say I think there's 5 games you can win, because here's what I'm gonna say. You had the Saints. I think you could win that game. I will give us one of the Steelers games, probably the game after the Saints game, because it's a home game.
Yeah,
I think you can beat the Broncos.
Yeah,
the game in Pittsburgh, I'll chalk up as a loss. The games against Kansas City, I'll chalk up as a loss. I think you could split with the Bengals.
And you could definitely beat Miami at that point, because it'll be late. It'll be late December in Cleveland.
And that's 5 wins right there. That puts you at 7 wins on the season. Again, that puts you at 7-10 on the year.
Okay. Yeah.
So you could win 5 games and again finish with like I said, a respectable record.
Yeah, and it's definitely a lot better than what we're gonna head to right now. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I mean, you'll finish 7-11, but 7-10. I forget how many games there are anymore. Kids that keep changing it.
Yeah, but
It's
still.
an odd number of games.
Oh, Lamar just got picked off too. This game's fucking cheeky. I love it.
You know when I said they should start running the fucking football
Yeah,
and they
and
keep
Lamar
fucking
throws a
throwing
pick.
it? And Lamar, that's what Lamar
Now,
does.
now pass the ball in the end zone to Mike Gesicki, and then I will be happy for my bet. But
Yeah.
yeah, other than that, I'm glad that we just have a week to just chill on football. But I do want to transition to some Cavs talk because we spoke a little bit about it last week that this
Mhm.
Cavs team is starting off pretty good. That Kenny Atkinson has sort of elevated this team, and I'm gonna hit retweet on that statement because my God, this team is so fucking fun to watch.
Yeah.
They all look incredible. Darius Garland is back to his sort of all-star self. The dude looks so confident again.
Yeah.
Donovan looks like a real leader. Like he actually looks like he's fully ready for this moment finally because he looks confident. Mobley is the most confident I've ever seen him. He literally looks like he wants to bully everybody every time he gets the ball. Jared Allen is still one of the most underrated centers in the entire game. And you got guys like Dean Wade, Jerome, you got Sam Merrill throwing up 3 threes last night or 4 threes, last night in a big win. Guys are all contributing. Levert is scoring a lot more efficiently this year off the
Yeah.
bench. Okoro is able. I think Okoro is like 52% from three right now. He's
Yeah.
shooting better. I mean, he's not really scoring a lot, but when he gets the opportunity to shoot, he's making more. So he's being more productive. He's obviously good on defense. Like this team is exactly the type of team we thought that they were going to be last year because we all thought that Mobley was going to take that step and everybody was going to take that step after that first big year with Donovan. And this team just looks night and day different.
Yeah. I mean, I think what really helps as well is, again, the thing that we talked about that JB struggled with was the bench.
Mm.
The bench scoring, I think, is number 2 in the league right now. We have the second best bench scoring in the league. And I think we're number 1 in 3-point percentage off the bench. 53% of 3-point percentage off the bench. That's guys like Levert, Merrill, Jerome. All these guys are coming off the floor, banging threes and making play. Like last year, we were terrified when the bench came on because it's like,
Oh yeah, we didn't have
here
an
they go.
offense to run. That was the issue. We didn't have a half court offense to run.
No, and we couldn't score points. We couldn't keep leads because we could score. And then now, I'm not even worried when the bench comes on. I was like, they're just going to add more to the. They're just going to add more to the tally. Like Ty Jerome is looking at amazing.
Yeah.
Karis LeVert is averaging like 14 points 14 points per game off the bench. Not even started off the bench.
Yes.
He's averaging 14 a night,
Yes.
and that's incredible. I mean, George Niang looks really good again. Sam Merrill is jacking up threes and making it. Caleb Porter, I mean, yeah, Porter, yeah, Craig Porter. Sorry, I don't know why I said
Craig Porter.
I'm thinking of Caleb Porter, the men's soccer coach for the New England Revolution.
Yeah. Of course.
Former Columbus Crew head coach and former University of Akron head coach. That's where I was getting Caleb Porter. Sorry, guys. Craig Porter Jr. Again, when he's coming off the bench, he's making an impact. Not so much offensively, but defensively, he is. And
Dean Wade's been awesome too.
Dean Wade has been electric.
And here's the other thing before you say what you're going to say. We still don't have Max Strus back yet. We still don't have a Bonnie Bates back yet.
I tell you what, dude. Imagine Max Strus in this offense.
Especially if
him and Merrill on the court together.
Yeah, because you gotta think about this. Because Dean Wade has played so well with the first unit, do you almost roll with him as the starting small forward and just have Strus come off the bench?
I think so.
Because Strus he's still going to be able to add shooting. He's still going to be able to add defense, and he can still score off the dribble, but he can do all the things that you need him to do. But it's like, dude, Dean Wade is just
On
been
another
so
level.
great.
He's been on a new level this year, and Kenny Atkinson has just absolutely transformed this team.
Literally.
Like, we went from being a mid team. Like, obviously we were mid last year. We finished third but JB made us look so bad.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh my God, with a real head coach, look at what this offense can do. Look at what Mobley can do. Look at what Allen can do. Look at what Garland and Mitchell can do. Mitchell and Garland can play together. That was the biggest question going into the season.
Yeah.
Can they play together? And lo and
Yes,
behold,
they can.
oh my God, they're both averaging fucking 30 points.
And Darius is still able to be the sort of facilitator while Donovan is still being like the main ball handler. But they're all playing so well.
Yeah, they're meshing together, and that was a big question. Can the core four mesh together?
Yeah,
and they can. We're meshing together
very well, if I might add.
I mean, look at Evan Mobley and what he's been able to do this season.
I cannot wait to buy his jersey because that's going to be my next Cavs jersey is an Evan Mobley jersey.
I have a Mitchell jersey, and I might go for an Evan Mobley jersey as well.
Yeah,
because it's time. I think it's time because Evan Mobley,
he's an all-star.
He's an all-star.
He's almost averaging a double-double.
Our starting five, all of our starting five should be in the all-star game.
Yeah, at this point. I mean, because Jared Allen's still playing at a pretty solid level. Like, honestly,
he's averaging a double-double.
Yeah, and him and Mobley are both also getting like 2 blocks a game.
Yeah,
I think Donovan averages about 2 steals a game. It's just
Garland and Mitchell both had a steal last night, and a block too. Both had a block.
Yep.
Allen had a steal and 2 blocks, and Evan Mobley had 3 blocks.
Yeah, right. You're still playing the level of defense that you were playing under JB, and then now you're adding an offense to it with guys that are offensive minded, but they've been churned into that defensive mindset. And Kenny said, "Listen, you can turn your defense into offense, but we still need our good half court sets. We need to be able to understand how to play off each other. And if guys are hot at certain times of the game, get them more involved." Like, he's being smart, he's being intentional, and even the lineups that we use are a lot more intentional than JB could ever get out of this team. And that's been the big difference, and that's the reason we're having so much success.
Yeah. Also, too, we are averaging 124 points per game.
Yeah,
which is second in the NBA.
I mean, how many times have we scored 130 plus? Quite a few.
This season, I have the schedule right here, and the scores: 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 out of 9 games this season, we had 130. We have yet to score under 110 points.
Yeah, because most of the time they have 100 by the end of the third quarter.
And I saw this stat too, from someone on YouTube who posted the video, and the last few years under JB, dating back to I think it's 2020 or whatever.
Yeah.
The Cavs' average offense went from 29th. And this is how a fast scoring offense.
Yeah.
The Cavs took almost 16 seconds out of the 24 seconds on the shot clock. 16 and a half seconds to score a basket. So they dribbled down the court, and then they just sat there and took 60 seconds to score a basket. 29th in the league for 2 years straight, and then 28 2 years straight. This season, we are third, averaging nearly 12 and a half seconds. We are literally getting the ball off the inbound, sprinting down the court, and immediately finding a mismatch, or finding an open 3, dumping it off, scoring, and we're just back on defense.
Yeah.
And I think that's been what's been so effective is that we're playing quick offense. We're driving down, we're jumping up their defense because they're not expecting a fast pace. and we're scoring quickly, and they can't handle it, and it tires them out after a while.
And then on defense, you're still full court
Yeah,
pressuring all throughout the game. Like they do it throughout the entire game.
yeah.
Even if they have a lead, guys like Jerome are just being pesky little fuckers, and
So,
Donovan
and
is being
Merrill, yeah,
pesky. Merrill, like all of these guys, like we all saw this capability last year. We really did because it's the same unit. But the difference is they're
Mhm.
just being executed at a better level because our coach knows how to put them in better positions.
Yeah.
And this next game against Golden State, I didn't really think about this, but this is kind of a revenge game for him because he coached at Golden State for many years. This is
He,
going to be a fun game for him too. And Golden
yeah,
State's good this year.
he was a part of some of the championship game
Yeah.
teams
Yeah.
that in Golden State. Like he was the assistant. So and that's a good thing for us because he knows his Golden State team like the back of his hand. He's going to know how they play.
Yep.
I think that's a big advantage to us. And it's kind of a small disadvantage because now that we're a changed team, Golden State will know how to play us.
Yeah.
And I think right now we have a bit of the upper hand. I know Golden State fans are overconfident as usual,
But they're just so much slower than they were.
They're so much slower. And that's the thing. They went like the Cavs route when LeBron was here. They went with like the more older, skilled players, and they don't have a lot of the big young talent like we do. We're gonna play fast.
Yep.
A lot of their guys are in their 30s, man. They still have, I think they still have like Andrew Wiggins on that team. They still have Steph Curry. I mean, Klay Thompson's gone. Draymond Green is just kind of there at this point. He's just a body on the floor. Like he's not even done shit anymore in the last year or two.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're playing good right now, but they're just kind of washed right now. And I mean, they're 7-1, but
It's a weird 7-1.
Yeah. I just don't think they played anyone. I have to look at their schedule, but I don't think they really played much of anyone.
Yeah.
Let me see here. So the teams they won, they lost to the Clippers. But the teams they won were against Portland, Utah, New Orleans twice, Houston, Washington, and they just scraped out a W against Boston.
Okay. Interesting.
So the real opponent they've played so far is Boston.
Yeah.
Because Utah is bad now. Portland's bad. LA's kind of up and down, but LA was able to beat them. New Orleans is bad because of all the injuries that they have. Houston's bad. Washington's bad. Yeah, the only real team they played is Boston, and then they play us, and then they go to OKC right after.
Yeah.
So they have a tougher schedule coming because then they play like OKC or us, OKC, Dallas.
So they're gonna have a fun next few weeks.
But I'm looking at their roster now, and the only real name players that they have anymore is Andrew Wiggins, who's about to be 30 years old. Which, geez,
remember when you gotta think we freaking drafted him and then traded him for K-Love.
Yeah, that was 2014.
14, yep.
God, we're getting old, dude.
Yeah, we are.
They have Gary Payton. They still have Kevon Looney, but he hasn't done much of anything. They got I didn't realize they got Buddy Hield. They have Buddy Hield, Draymond, Steph Curry, and that's really it. Steph Curry, Green Hill, Looney, Payton, and Wiggins. Unless you heard of guys like Gui Santos, Pat Spencer, Lindy Waters III, DeAnthony Melton, Moses Moody. I mean, they still have Jonathan Kuminga.
Yeah.
Trey Jackson Davis.
Yeah.
Kyle Anderson. God, Kyle Anderson. Holy shit. Reese Beekman. Like they don't have much of anybody. And again, the start of their schedule is pretty bleak. Like the best team you played was Boston, and somehow you lost to the Clippers, who have just, I think, are starting to finally figure out how to play basketball.
Yeah.
So we're probably besides Boston, we're probably the first real opponent that they're gonna play.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So I mean, at this point, for Cavs fans, like especially with how bad the Browns are, let's just enjoy it because
Yeah.
this team is another fun team for us. Like the Guardians were really fun for us this year, but now it's the Cavs' turn to talk. There's their talk, and again
Mhm.
with the Browns being so bad, enjoy this.
Yeah.
This is gonna be a fun year for us, and I think the Cavs like they actually legitimately look like they can finally contend for a championship, and it's so weird that just a head coach was the thing that really mattered in this scenario. But it proves how important coaching can be in basketball, especially, but really just in general. Like coaching can make a huge difference on the same roster because they just bring out better versions of these guys that they have. Everybody's just playing at the most confident level I've ever seen them play, and they all finally look uh, just like a cohesive unit, like they finally cracked a code of some sort, and this is the result. So dude, I'm fucking stoked.
Oh yeah, dude, me too. Um, yeah, this cast team is definitely gonna be super fun to watch for the whole year. I think we have a good chance of going 10-0 to start the year. I think we have a good chance of just. I'm not gonna lie, dude. I feel like we're a team that can actually win the championship this year.
Oh yeah,
I think we have a decent chance with how revitalized we are,
yeah.
and
I
with
mean, I do
everyone's.
too.
I'm not
I do
saying we're
too.
gonna win it, but I think we have a. I think we're one of the top teams to actually win it.
Yeah, I do too. I think we're gonna be like. I mean, as long as we can stay that way for most of the year, I would say yeah, absolutely, because you know
Yeah,
what the team's capable of, and so yeah, this is. Dude, I'm so freaking excited. I know I don't sound excited because I am fighting, just falling asleep over here. I'm so tired tonight,
I know. I'm
but
still battling my illness a little bit.
yeah. So I mean, that's really kind of all that I wanted to discuss in terms of Cleveland sports. So I guess we can go ahead and get into our picks. And I'll just go ahead and start off by saying we both picked the Bengals to win tonight, and right now they're not. So
Yeah.
this is going to be interesting. But it is fourth quarter, minute 36 to go. It's 4th and 10 right now. Burrow
Don't
has a
let us down,
chance.
Joey.
He's probably going to because I actually think he aggravated his wrist tonight. I do
Yeah,
think he did.
I saw he got tackled in it. He jammed his wrist, and I think it's the same wrist that he injured last year.
Yeah, so I think he's fighting a little something something right now. But that's a first
Oh,
down though.
that's a
That's
first
that's a
down.
big time throw.
That's
Big
a
time throw.
big time throw and a big time boy.
Hell yeah.
All right, I managed to find the Week 10 slate,
Hell yeah.
so
Oh,
didn't
that's
have
right.
to
The Germany games this week as well.
the
Okay.
Munich game, which man, I would love to go to Munich,
Yeah, that'd be sick, especially for soccer.
dude.
Soccer in Germany would slap.
They're gonna be playing at the Allianz Arena. Oh,
Mm,
that stadium is
yeah,
it's so
it's
peak.
gorgeous. Yeah.
Oh man, I have to go there soon. I want to go there so bad. And I'm definitely taking your ass, dude.
Oh yeah, dude. I'm
I
going to a
need.
crew game at some point.
Uh, we're taking you to a crew game and when the season starts back up again.
Especially now that your boy no longer works at Penske. I have a new job, so we're gonna be a lot more
Yeah.
active on this. TikTok is gonna be a lot more active as well. Drew's been doing a little bit of that side of things, but I'm also gonna chime in now on TikTok. And I know we're definitely going to be trying to do live streams and shit. So I was going to wait to say that at the end, but it just popped in my head and I don't want to forget it. So yeah, more shit to come, guys. Like I know the Browns suck, but we are not going to slow down. We're definitely ready to pump out some more content. So that's what we're going to do. That being said, this Munich game is a shit ass game.
It's a dog shit game.
Um,
Who do you got, man? New York or do you got the Carolina Panthers?
Panthers just came off a win against the Saints, and I still don't think New York is as bad as the Saints are. So I'm gonna have to go New York.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be New York. I did, like you said, I don't think they're as bad as the fucking. I don't think they're as bad, but you know what? New York is. Carolina's the worst team in the league, hands down. Carolina's definitely the worst team in football. They're just dog shit. Let's just be realistic with
I
it.
don't know. The Saints are pretty bad, but yeah.
The Saints are pretty bad, but Carolina I think is worse. Also the call stood for the first down. They looked at it, and it looked like he it hit the ground.
I thought he got it too. Yeah.
But hey, we won't tell anybody.
Yeah, I won't tell anybody.
New England versus Chicago, another kind of in game.
I'm actually going to go New England. Chicago is kind of on a little bit of a slump right now. The offense doesn't look like it's flowing again. Caleb looks like he's struggling, and there's some talk about them just not really enjoying the coaching there now. So, God only knows what's going on over there. But with New England, Drake May actually looks pretty fucking solid, as I expected. And he's only going to get better, and the Bears defense is just not as good. So yeah, I'm gonna go Pats here.
Yeah, I went with the Pats too, just because Drake May is actually looking really good.
Yeah,
and
I love how he's looked.
I do too. I think they finally found their replacement for Tom Brady.
Yeah.
If this was Jacoby Brissett, I probably would have gone Chicago.
Yeah.
No disrespect to Jacoby, love him. Love what he did for us here in Cleveland, but got to go with the New England Patriots over the Bears over here.
Absolutely.
All right, Bills and Colts.
Bills.
Yeah.
Like the Colts are in a weird spot. I mean, I know they have Flacco, but they played like shit last week, and this Bills team is even better than the team that the Colts faced last week. They got no shot.
Yeah, I completely agree. They have no shot. I'm going with Buffalo here. All right, Minnesota and Jacksonville Jaguars.
Vikings, Trevor Lawrence. I think he's still like questionable for this game, and if Trevor doesn't play, there's no way the Jags do anything, and the Vikings get back on track. So yeah, I'm gonna say Vikings.
I'm gonna go with the Vikings too. I mean, Vikings have looked good all year. Sam Darnold somehow has looked good all year. And but like you said, if Trevor Lawrence is missing out, I have a quarterback to start in the Dynasty League because I do have the backup.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I think either way, I'm going with Minnesota. Jacksonville's just been bad.
Yeah.
All right, I think we can skip this next game, Denver and Kansas City. I think we all know what that's going to be.
Kansas City is going to get man, if they're going to get the refs on their side again. Although D-Hop looked great, I will say. Mm-hmm. And Travis Kelce also finally had a big game. So if that's the case, I think they get back on track. Kareem Hunt's honestly been awesome too. Denver is a better defensive team, and I really do think this could be a potential trap game. Yeah. I really, really do, because Denver has not looked bad. Bo Nix is starting to get a little bit better, and again, their defense is just solid.
Yeah,
so,
but
Kansas City's going to win.
I think Kansas City's going to win for sure. They're also at home, so they're going to definitely win. I don't think they've played a game on the road yet. It feels like, but like you said, Denver's been really good. Like they're not. I don't think they're a bad football team.
No,
I think they're good. Bo Nix has looked good. So, but
they're better off than us right now. I know that.
It could be a trap game, but again, I'm going Kansas City. Atlanta and New Orleans.
I mean, this is pretty easy. I'm Atlanta.
Yeah.
I really do think the Saints are one of the worst run teams right now. I've been a Derek Carr fan forever. Like I really have always admired his game. But he's just not playing that well, and he also doesn't have really anybody to throw to. Olave is probably going to be out, so he's going to be throwing to practice squad guys. He's literally got a running back that's elite, and Kamara, and that's about it. They just traded Marshall Lattimore.
Yep.
Atlanta should win this by an absolute landslide.
Yeah, I agreed with you. I said Atlanta as well, like you said. Chris Olave is injured. Derek Carr has no one to throw to. It's basically just Derek Carr, Kamara, and Taysom Hill.
Yeah.
And Chris Olave, but
yeah.
But that's really all they have. Atlanta should be able to cook this, no problem. San Francisco and Tampa Bay.
I'm gonna go San Fran, and the one reason why I'm saying San Fran is because CMC is gonna be back.
Yeah.
I just think that just gives them a little bit more of an edge. I don't think CMC has a huge game or anything, but I also wouldn't be surprised if he scores. But at least San Fran's going to get back to running the ball a little bit better, and maybe they can start finding a little bit more of a groove. But it's not like San Fran's been playing terribly. It's just they've had guys out. Obviously they lost Ayuk, so they just don't have as many weapons. But with CMC back, it could very well help them here. So yeah, I'll go on San Fran.
Yeah, again, I want San Fran just for the sole fact that CMC's back. As long as CMC is healthy and playing, and as long as George Kittle is an option to throw the football to, it's going to be hard for San Francisco to lose.
Oh yeah,
and that Ricky Pearsall kid that actually looks pretty good too.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like he's got guys to throw to. It seems like Purdy's got his running back, and he should be just fine.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, Washington.
This is actually gonna be a fucking good game.
This is probably the best game of the weekend.
I'm gonna say Pittsburgh because this is gonna easily be the best defense that Daniels is gonna face.
Yeah,
and I know I know he's still a little bit banged up, and obviously they just got more. Marshawn Lattimore. I just don't think it's really gonna matter here. Oh my God, Chase tied it up. But I just think the Steelers, again, as I said earlier, they're just a more complete team. I don't think Washington has had enough tough games yet. I just think that, I just think the Steelers got this one.
So I'm gonna go different here. I'm gonna go with Washington. I think adding Marshawn Lattimore is a big, is a big boost to that defense, and I'm just gonna give them the home field advantage too.
Okay.
They are in Washington. I think that'll help Jaden Daniels a little bit, playing in a more comfortable environment. And I think the Steelers will slump a little bit in this game and give up some home runs to Terry McLaurin. All right. Before I move on to the next game, after that touchdown pass to Jamar Chase has 11 catches for 264 yards.
Oh my goodness.
Damn near 300 receiving yards for Jamar Chase.
Damn. He just eats the Ravens alive. He really does.
Oh yeah. Damn. If they go into overtime, he could probably cross 300 if they go into OT.
Oh yeah, if they do, they will.
I think they're trying to go for 2, but I don't know if they did just to try and get a bad snap, or not a bad snap, but offside or something.
Yeah,
and
I think they should tie it up. And go the overtime for the one time.
Yeah.
No, they're going for it.
They're going for it. We might have to pause here and see what happens.
All right, y'all.
Give us 2 seconds.
We got Chase up high motion. He's going to the top left here. Nobody else I really know is out there at that moment besides Chase. So this is probably going to be, and they missed it. Yeah, they should have just gone for the tie.
And that Burrow's hurt again.
I think he got hit on the hip.
Yeah,
this is why Zach Taylor's going to get fired this year.
Yeah, that's horrible from Zach. Just go for the tie, dude.
Yeah.
And is that Mike Gesicki? He's looking for a pass interference.
Or what? Like at least a hold.
It kind of looked like he did get held up just a tad bit, but I don't think it was enough for a penalty. We'll see on this replay here.
Definitely was a hold. That's definitely a hold.
That's definitely a hold. Holy. Yeah, that is a massive hold. The Ravens got away with one right there. And that's that could have been
questionable, yeah.
It's questionable, but I think they could have called the hold on Mike Gesicki.
Yeah.
That was a massive hold. They didn't even let him go either. But all right, Tennessee and the Chargers.
Chargers.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer one.
No.
All right, Philadelphia and Dallas. Somebody need to go into that one.
Philly, Dallas. Philly's got this one.
Yeah, I think Cooper Rush is a starting quarterback. I think Dak's out for a couple weeks.
Oh yeah.
So Cooper Rush is the starting quarterback. I'm going with Philly. Detroit and Houston.
You forgot one. Jets, Cardinals.
Oh, Jets Cardinals. My fault. My fault. My fault. Jets Cards.
Um, I think the Jets ride the high of their last game, and I think they beat the Cardinals because the Cardinals are a better team, but their defense is just not quite that great. And I think the Jets finally found something there, and I just think they start playing better. So I'm going Jets here.
Yeah. Also, they just reshowed the 2 point conversion. It looks like there was a hands to the face on Joe Burrow.
Yeah, of course.
So there could have been 3 penalties on that fucking play. But I digress. I went with the Jets as well. Just for like you said, I rode with the high off of the last win. I think Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers are connecting again, and I think they're gonna continue that connection, and they're gonna continue to play well. So, I'm riding with the Jets, and again, the Cardinals' defense is just dog water.
Yeah.
Um, all right, Detroit, Houston.
Detroit, but this is going to be a closer game. I think Nico Collins is like 50-50 for this game right now. He hasn't come off of IR to my knowledge yet, but I
Yeah,
know he could, and they obviously need receiver help. But if they don't have Nico, it's going to be Lions by a little bit more than you think. But Houston's defense is good enough to keep it sort of close. Just the Lions have been so freaking dominant, dude. Like I can't not pick them unless it's literally Kansas City.
yeah. I mean, I completely agree. I went with Detroit. I think Detroit is the only team right now that could probably compete with Kansas City.
Yeah.
And Dan Campbell has done something to this Detroit team. I think he's just injected them all with steroids and heroin and whatever you could think of, because these boys are absolutely fucking crazy.
Steroids and 1,000 milligrams of caffeine a day.
Like I don't know what the hell you put into these guys, but why are they like dropping like 50 in every fucking week? Like it's nothing. And it's funny because Jared Goff's like, oh, I'm only gonna throw for 50 yards, but I'm gonna also throw for 5 touchdowns too.
All right.
Why I throw for 50 yards? It makes no goddamn sense. But hey, he does what he does. Dan Campbell's a crack addict, I'm sure. But it works. It works. He was made for Detroit, and it's blossoming well. And lastly, the Monday Night Football game, the Rams and the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah. Rams. I just think the Dolphins are just kind of trash. They're not playing well. I think Mike McDaniel's might get fired, low-key.
I think so too. The Dolphins just haven't looked good.
Which sucks because Mike Daniels is a good coach. I just think
it's a bad situation down in Miami. I mean, Tua's going to turn into radio here if he gets another concussion, and I feel so bad for Tua, dude.
Yeah, like, me too.
This is going to need a lot of mental help when he's retired from the league.
Yeah,
because like guys like him, Denzel, guys who have like 6-7 concussions already. But I went the Rams as long as they have Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. It's just wraps for the Dolphins. But so far, we only have one game that's different, and that is the Washington-Pittsburgh game.
Yeah.
We picked it. I think it's just been a week where it's just too easy to predict.
Yeah.
And I think for the Washington-Pittsburgh game, I think it's going to be too good of a game to where I felt like it was like a good opportunity to just like mix it up and be like we can't both just go perfect and be like, yeah, we went perfect or whatever. Yeah. Like, I want one of us to fuck up at least.
Yeah, especially because your boy just came off of another good week predicting. So maybe Andrew's just trying to tail me because he wants to have a better week. I don't know, but whatever the case is, that's how the predicts were. But yeah, I mean you're right. Like this week was a weird, just like a pretty basic picking of games. I think starting next week when we get the Browns back up, it'll probably be a little better. And really, once we start getting into more AFC North ball, especially for the Browns, that could make predicts a lot more fun for sure.
Yeah, and you're not gonna, and I'm not gonna lie, I did tell you. I'm just kidding.
Hey man, I wouldn't blame you. I'm doing good.
You're riding behind and need to catch up, so I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
In actuality, I'm just gonna tail these and put them into a parlay and just bet on.
Honestly, I might have to because I what did you say? I went last week like 12-3.
You went 12-3, and then the week before you went 13-3.
So I think I need to just start doing money line games for at least the 1 o'clock games or something. Like
Yeah,
just do some money lines and see what happens. Because
for sure, dude. Oh my god, you killed it.
I don't know. Feel like
Oh
I'm just I'm literally just BSing up here. So
yeah, no shit.
I don't know.
All right, that's that.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I got. I'm beyond tired. I'm trying so hard to stay awake, and I still have to upload this for tomorrow. But guys, I know it hasn't been a great year for the Browns, but not all hope is lost because the
Mm-hmm.
Cavs are awesome, and we'll see what happens with the Browns.
For
We'll
sure.
see sort of how this escalates, and if we can swing off a couple wins at least and make this season somewhat fun again, then I think we'll all just be just fine. But
Yeah.
until next week, we will see you guys probably on TikTok or whatever. Like I said, we're gonna be so much more active. So keep a lookout for us. If you guys haven't tried to follow us on TikTok, Twitter, or anything like that, the descriptions are down below in the description. I said the word description 3 times now, but it's down below in the description. All of the links for all of our socials and all that stuff. So keep an eye because we are locked the hell in. We'll see you guys next week.